a dire Student Cyclones fan. Let's talk about the legacy of Joshua Jefferson, why he's one of the best Cyclones of all time, even though he was only here for 2 years, and why him coming back for his senior year cemented Iowa State basketball where it is today. My name is AJ Caldwell. Welcome back to Cyclone Kingdom. The legacy of Joshua Jefferson is one that will go down in the history books for Iowa State. Let's talk about what he did for Iowa State basketball just this last season. I mean, what he did cannot be overstated. He could have easily left Iowa State. He had offers on the table for NIL and more money to go to another school, and he wanted to do it. Shout out to Brent Bloom for telling that story of Joshua Jefferson all but committing to a different school before the Iowa State Foundation and the NIL funds Iowa State had brought him and Lipsy and Momcilovic back. It's no fault of his own for what Momcilovic is doing because of the NIL world and what it's doing, right? He entered the NBA draft, and whatever happened after that was due to the circumstances. Joshua Jefferson wasn't an NBA prospect yet, at least not to the ability he is now, right? So him going to another school was easily available for him to make more money. And he chose to come back to Iowa State. He chose to come back. Like, think about the conversations we've had about Rocco Becht and Matt Campbell and Audie Crooks. They don't want to come back. They want to go play for their coach, or they want to have a legacy somewhere else. They don't want to care about their Iowa State Hall of Fame status or their jersey being retired or a statue or whatever it is. Joshua Jefferson came back. And if that wasn't amazing enough to cement that he's a Cyclone legend, look at the year that he had. The reason we're talking about Josh Jefferson's legacy, even though he was only here for 2 years, is because of the 2025-26 season. He was a unanimous All-American. Only other person you could say that about in the last decade is George Niang and I think Royce White. I don't even know if Royce White was in that conversation. Right? Joshua Jefferson was that caliber of player. He was close to averaging a triple-double, had 2 triple-doubles in 1 season in college basketball. Do you know how difficult that is based on the defense and the athleticism that college sports have? Like, what Josh Jefferson did cannot be overstated. He's a Cyclone legend for so many reasons. He's an unbelievable human being. He cares about Iowa State. He put in his work. He paid his dues. And then he rolled his ankle in a year where Iowa State was going to go to the Final Four. We can play the if game all we want, but the reality is if Joshua Jefferson doesn't get hurt, they beat Tennessee, and they give Michigan a good game in the Elite Eight. That's the reality of what you had seen from Iowa State basketball all year. Josh Jefferson, 6'9". 6'9". Big body, can back you down, can shoot from the outside, can attack you off the dribble. Did he have his turnovers? Sure. He had his turnover problems. I will admit that as much as the next person. I was frustrated with him time and time again for that. But he made up for it so many times because of his ability and his love for Iowa State. Look no further than the post-game press conference after Iowa State lost to Tennessee and seeing how distraught Josh Jefferson was because he couldn't go to war with his guys. And I guarantee you, he was distraught because he knew what they were capable of. If you think about the George Niang year, right, in 2014, when George Niang broke his foot, Iowa State genuinely was going to go to the Final Four. I know they ran into a Virginia team or a UConn team or whatever that year was, and that was a really good team that they played. George Niang was a unanimous All-American. Joshua Jefferson was a unanimous All-American. Do you see the similarities? But we're not here to play the if game. We're not here to play, well, if this had happened. We're here to say definitively, Joshua Jefferson is one of the 10 greatest Cyclone athletes of all time. Because of what he did for Ames, because of what he did for the university, because of what he did for Cyclone basketball. Think about where Cyclone basketball is today. That's in large part because of TJ Otzelberger, but it's in large part because he kept Joshua Jefferson. We respect TJ because of the defense that he set up and this amazing ability that Iowa State teams have where they basically overachieve what everyone thinks they're going to do. But TJ's ability to recruit and retain is unbelievable. No, people might want to say, and Kentucky fans might want to say, well, you didn't retain Milan Momcilovic. That's a different situation, and you know it. Milan Momcilovic going through the NBA draft process is completely different than Tyrese Hunter going to the Sweet 16 with an Iowa State team that coached by TJ Otzelberger that had gone 2-20 the year before with Steve Prohm. And then Tyrese Hunter leaves. Not because he's going to the NBA draft, not because he's some high draft prospect, but because he cares about money and went to the Texas Longhorns. Milan's situation is different than that. Josh Jefferson's situation was more similar to Tyrese Hunter's, except Josh Jefferson came back and stayed at Iowa State and balled out for Iowa State. Was a part of a team that had the best regular season win of the year going to Purdue, an Elite Eight team that they proved to be this year, and beat them by 20 on their home court. I've heard Purdue and Mackey Arena has a top 5 environment in college basketball. Where was it? Where was it? Because Josh Jefferson and them boys gave them belt. Monkey stomped them. That's part because Joshua Jefferson came back. And he was a part of a team and part of a program that is a perennial top 10, top 15 powerhouse today. TJ Otzelberger is a top 5, top 10 coach in college basketball because of his ability to coach and his ability to retain and develop talent like Joshua Jefferson, like Milan Momcilovic. Milan Momcilovic is the number 1 transfer portal prospect today because of TJ Otzelberger in Iowa State. They turned him into a knockdown 50% from 3 shooter. You're welcome, Kentucky. This isn't about TJ. This isn't about Milan right now. This is about Joshua Jefferson. He's awesome. Yes, he's reached out to us on our TikTok channel and on our profile and said how much he can't wait to meet us and wants to see Cyclone Nation continue to shine. Joshua Jefferson has changed Cyclone basketball for the better. You can clown all you want that Iowa State hasn't made an Elite Eight and Iowa made an Elite Eight over Iowa State. The reality is our best player, a top 10 player in America, one of the best Cyclone athletes of all time, sprained his ankle. And it'll be one of the biggest what ifs in the history of Iowa State athletics. In the history of Iowa State athletics, that will be one of the biggest what ifs. I would argue more so than the George Yang year. I would argue. Because Joshua Jefferson and that team was so good. Milan was shooting 50%. Taman Lipsey was balling out. Blake Buchanan was making plays. Jamarian Bateman as a freshman was stepping up and knocking down shots. Jefferson got injured, and the rest is history. And not a history that Cyclone fans like. Josh Jefferson, thank you so much for being a Cyclone. Thank you so much for providing us with memories for a lifetime. Even when you gave us the heart attacks, turning the ball over too much. You changed Cyclone basketball for the better. There's a reason Iowa State fans are always excited for the basketball season, regardless of who's on the team, because we know the coach, we know the culture, and we know the legacy that has been left by guys like you. Thank you so much for being a Cyclone, and thank you for coming back. It was awesome to see and to hear the stories now of what you had on the table and still returning. Joshua Jefferson, one of the best Cyclones of all time, one of the best athletes of all time, just with his ability and the nature of how he goes about playing the game of basketball. And now he's going to be a first-round draft pick, at worst, early second-round draft pick. He's going to go ball out in the NBA. Josh Jefferson, we love you at Cyclone Nation. We appreciate you more than you know, and we want you to go be great. Go be great, go ball out, and know you always got a family back in Ames whenever you want to come back to Hilton Coliseum. Thank you, Joshua Jefferson. We'll continue to roll out these legacy videos, all-time videos, all these different things. And we can't wait to go through the summer, go into next season, ready to see Iowa State basketball. Go do it again and break that Elite Eight curse. Because as TJ said, that breakthrough's coming. As always, roll clones. And how about those cheese?